Today I'm gonna read A Wish in the Dark by Christina Sonchonvat, chapter 6. Pong crouched inside the basket. One eye pressed against the straw, trying to see the world outside. By now the sun had gone down, and it was difficult to make anything out. Even inside the basket, he felt too exposed, like he was naked. He scooted farther down, winching as the spiky durian winds jabbed into his skin. The zippy whir of the trashman's small orb motor rose in pitch as he steered the boat into the central channel of the river. If some kid were there, he'd know that what model the motor was just from the sound. Larger boats with more powerful motors passed by, throwing out waves that rocked the little boat. Pong could make out hazy pinpricks of light beaming from the houses lining the riverbanks. The lights and the boats grew in number as they moved downriver. Pong's stomach now churned with excitement more than fear. Finally, he was going to see the city up close. He heard it first. The buzz of the orb lights sounded like a swarm of bees flying toward him. He heard shouting and laughing on the shore, a band playing music, and a woman's voice singing, "Take my hand, oh my darling, take my hand and dance with me." And then the darkness lit up like the inside of a star. They'd reached the heart of Chatana. Homes, stores, and restaurants lined the water's edge, stacked one on top of the other, lit ceiling to floor in a rainbow of orb lights that blurred together through Pong's tiny basket window. He could hear customers shouting orders, people haggling over prices, babies wailing for their mothers. He smelled sizzling catfish skin and vegetable dumplings and the human odors of too many bodies living too close together. A herd of bare feet pounded against wood planks. Children shrieked as they ran down one of the gangways that lined the river. Pong heard their laughter, then a dozen splashes close to the boat. "Hey, you kids, get out of my way!" shouted the trashman, cutting off his mother. "Lazy brats! When I was your age, I already had a job." The trashman used his oar to turn the boat down a canal that led away from the main flow of the river. Chatana was a city built on water, with canals serving the place of roads. People got around by boat or used the crowded gangways and bridges that crossed the canals. The trashman turned them down another canal, then another, picking up more baskets of rotting garbage before returning to the wide highway of traffic on the river. The boat dipped up and down on the wake of barges, and as they crossed to the western shore. The west side of Chatana was also lit up bright as a sunrise, but with a difference. Unlike the rainbow cows of the east side, the charged orbs of the west side were all gold. Pong's heart ached at the sight. He realized that this side of town was what he and some kid had seen from the river gate every night when they dreamed of someday walking free under all those lights. and now here he was, almost close enough to touch them. The west side was so quiet. The orbs hanging off the trees barely hummed, and the music played softly. Even the smells were sweet and clean. Canals branched out from the main river, just like on the east side, but here the sidewalks weren't nearly so crowded. Pang could just make out the tiny rows of buildings through his pinprick window in the basket. The trashman also got very quiet as he pulled alongside one of the docks. Servants loaded baskets into the boat without a word. The trashman kicked up his orb motor, and they were off again downriver. The boat rocked up and down and up and down. Pang felt those eels in his stomach riffing again, but this time it was seasickness. Don't throw up, he told his stomach. Sadly, his stomach didn't listen. He clutched the sides of the basket, lost in a fuzzy fog. Back and forth the boat went, crossing a river as the trashman made his way south to all his stops. Pang's mind clouded over in a haze of seasickness, and he didn't know this until too late that the boat had stopped. His eyes popped open in time to realize that his basket was being picked up and tipped over the side. Rotten durian rinds showered off him as he tumbled into the black water. Pang, who'd lived his whole life inches from the river, didn't know how to swim. His feet kicked and his hands clawed at the dim glow of the surface. He managed to fight hard enough to get his face above the water. He sucked in a breath of air and a pint of river as his head went back down. Pang didn't care about getting caught and taken back to prison anymore. In fact, he was splashing and glugging and waving his arms as high above the water as he could. But the trashman was eager to drop off his cargo and get back to the lights of the city. He revved his motor and sped back upriver. He didn't see or hear Pang's pitiful splashes. According to law, the trashman had to dump his baskets outside the city limits, where the river made a wide bend. Here, the current was slow and the water clogged with trash of all sorts: footprints, broken boxes, torn fishing nets, empty rice sacks, 9-year-old prison escapees. Pang was so exhausted that he gave up trying to swim, but the trash wedged itself under his armpits and the balls of his feet as if it wanted to be useful one last time before sinking into the silt at the bottom. Pang's finger gripped at the edge of a sheet of plywood. Ready to sink, he found instead that he was floating, buoyed up by the garbage. The current carried him around the bend, where the river narrowed again and flowed a little faster. Pang held tight to his wooden life preserver as he drifted downstream. Seeing his chance, he kicked and wiggled his body, aiming for the bank. By the time he reached the shore, he floated out of sight of the city. He climbed up the long, muddy bank out of breath and shivering in the wet clothes clinging to his body. He looked up at the stars, dim and tiny compared to the lights of Chathana. Pong had done it. He had escaped. He was out in the world for the first time. He knelt in the mud, in the dark, in the trash, and cried.